there's no way to mentally prepare yourself for the absolute meltdown that this person has. So are you guys... I'm a walk away Swiftie for sure, Nessie. I'm a walk away Swiftie. I appreciate your guys' comments. Okay, so if everybody has taken their blood pressure medication and is ready to absorb the absolute meltdown we are about to witness, let's get into it.
First question, can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant.
Okay, awesome.
We don't even need to go too far. What was this guy's face? What was this guy's face? Right here. Can men get pregnant? He's like, oh my gosh. Like, how dare you answer that question like that? Like, that's such a controversial statement. That's insane to me. All right, sorry guys. Let's...
Awesome. So
definitionally,
okay. Do men experience SA, sexual assault?
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence of trans men?
What about the existence? Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about here? Women experiencing gender dysphoria?
So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
Okay, so we're only about 30 seconds in, and this person has already shifted topics like 3 times. Do you believe in the existence of trans men? It's like, I believe in your existence as a human being. Clearly, you are sitting right in front of me. You are a person. I believe that you exist. Do I think that there's such a men as trans men or trans women? No, I don't. And then shifting the conversation, do you think that you have benefited from white supremacy? It's like, okay, so now we're shifting the conversation. And this is just getting started. Let's keep going.
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white
supremacy. Here, let me give it to you then.
Sure, please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live, why don't I have access to that? Because there's...
Okay, I don't mean to keep interrupting. I promise I'll let it go a little bit longer before interrupting the next time. But when they say that the things that they have experienced, the trauma they've experienced, the SA they've experienced, if you guys, I'm sure a lot of you have been following the trans issue for a long time, but something that we are seeing consistently is that so many people that identify this way have had a history of trauma, have something in their past that they are trying to escape. And they are told, you know, that this is the way to get away from that. If they just completely change their identity, that is a way for them to just separate themselves from this thing that has happened to them. And I don't mean to trigger anybody. I don't know if I should offer a trigger warning before discussing that, but that is something that we are seeing across the board. And people that have experienced these things are very susceptible to these ideas because they are desperate to escape their identity. They're desperate to escape their own body, their name, anything associated with that past trauma. So it really is unfortunate because I think in a lot of ways they're not being given the help that they need. And they're being preyed upon with these ideas, with the promise of being cured. And as we're going to go on and see, like, this is not curing anything. This person is clearly very traumatized, very unstable. And I don't think that they've been given the help that they need, even though they clearly believe that they have. But that's just my interpretation. Clearly, I am not speaking for this person. I'm not dismissing their experiences, but this is just what evidence is showing us from this ideology in general and the people that tend to fall into it the most frequently. Nessie, it's outspoken Samantha. That title alone is the trigger warning. Amen. Amen. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep going.
No legislation, in the history of America, that legislates a man's body. So why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about
No,
abortion,
I don't. I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist who actually share a lot of similarities to you and everything, because I'm a married man of 20 years. Got
I
a wife.
recognize that you exist. I disagree with your claim
So
that you
if
are a
I
male.
was sexually assaulted, right, and I didn't have access to that abortion care, do you believe that I should have carried that child to term because I was sexually assaulted?
I mean,
no, I just want to make sure.
Okay. Sorry. We're getting into meltdown, well, even more of a meltdown mode here. So they're talking about abortion. They're talking about the existence of being a woman who believes that they're a man and tying all of these things together in one big mess. So I think we need to be able to address one thing at a time. It's like, no, abortion is abortion is abortion. It's a baby, it's a baby, it's a baby, regardless of a baby is a baby is a baby, regardless of how they ended up in somebody's womb. I think this person is basically saying that they need abortion to exist because they believe themselves to be a man and do not believe they should have to carry a baby. And also they think abortion needs to exist because people that experience SA should not have to carry them in those circumstances. So it's two different things that they're throwing at Ben Shapiro, asking him to defend, and then obviously not giving him a chance to respond. So this person is all over the place when it comes to the issues that they want to discuss, but obviously not interested in a conversation because they just keep talking and not allowing Ben to respond to any of the like dozen points that they brought up already. So let's keep going.
Sure that that's what you believe, because as a transgender man, I have seen your side of the entire political debate, never ever having the conversation of what an American freedom is. Because why am I not allowed to live my American freedom as a man? You know, I mean, you get your choice as a man to live and free and all that.
You're really moving around terminology very wildly here,
and so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game.
Nah, sorry, I didn't mean to freeze on that woman's face just like that. Okay, so she has brought up her genitalia, which is it wild to anybody else that we have people that are just so comfortable? Sorry, I'm going to move the screen off of her face. That we have people that are just so comfortable throwing that out there and being like, let me just talk to you about what's in my pants. Literally nobody is asking, and they just throw that out there. Like, no, nobody cares. I don't want to know. In fact, I not only don't care, I would actually prefer that you didn't bring that up. Secondly, they're talking about how Ben just constantly attacks their community, conveniently leaving out the fact that the only issue we really have with most of this conversation is regarding children. Is regarding teaching children that this is the normal way to live, that this is the actual natural worldview, that we can just pick our gender, and that actually having a binary identity, whether you're a boy or a girl, is actually the thing that goes against nature. Teaching children this ideology as if it is fact. That is the problem. And then leading them down this path where they're destroying their minds and their bodies before they have a chance to even understand what it is that's going on, before they have a chance to figure out if that is even a problem for them. Because as the studies have shown, 80 to 90% of these kids that have any question about their gender at all grow out of it by the time they get to older, teenage years or young adulthood. But these people don't even want to give them a chance to do that. Yet they lump themselves in as an adult, lump themselves in with this issue when it comes to kids. And when this person keeps throwing at Ben, why don't I get to live my American dream as a man? Yet he's sitting there. They really do look like a man, so it's really hard to call him a she. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But clearly they're sitting there living their life exactly the way that they want to live it, and nobody has stopped them. Arguably, the American dream is much more about, pursuing your career and having a family and being able to thrive and succeed at whatever, level that you aspire to, that you work towards. But this person's American dream is clearly to change their gender and be a man, and they are living that dream. So they're a walking contradiction to the things that they are accusing Ben Shapiro of being and of living by. And there's no self-awareness. There's no ability to sit back and take a breath and say, hey, I'm actually living the life that I want to live. I'm actually living in the identity that I want to live at, and nobody has stood in my way. I've had the support of my family. I've had the support of my community. I have the support of my kids. So again, what part of your dream are you not living right now? And it says, I know that is crazy, Samantha. That one is the most convincing I have seen yet. Let's see. One cookie says, weird to see the crowd cheering like they them is winning the debate against Ben Shapiro. And that's the take that I have seen from so many people on this particular segment, that because Ben Shapiro is unable to speak or get a word in edgewise, they're like, this person owned Ben Shapiro. This person totally, made Ben Shapiro speechless, which is impossible to do. That's not what happened here. I think we've all had these experiences with people that are just so out of their mind that we just have to sit back and not say anything, because we know that the energy, exerting the energy, is not even worth it, because they're not interested in having a conversation. They're not interested in actually hearing what you have to say. They're not interested in a debate. They just want to yell and scream at you. And you just have to sit back and go, okay, you came here clearly just to throw a tantrum. I'm not going to get myself worked up about it. It is not for me. It's not worth giving you that control over me to make me upset when you came here with a completely different agenda than to actually listen to something other than your own voice. So, it gets better, guys. Let's listen to a little more.
So how does it feel to have it in your face?
Oh, well, I mean,
because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially Black trans women, because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn when we're 1% of the population. Why not focus on the economy itself? All of us are struggling, and you want to focus on trans people. You want to focus on a Black woman when this is clearly a glass cliff situation. America.
Okay, so they're continuing to go. What I found interesting about this they is bringing up this accusation against Ben. Why don't you focus on the economy? Why don't you focus on things that are more important? Why don't you focus on the things that matter? That's what we're trying to do. We are actually trying to get people to make their voting decisions based on all of these other things. Yet if you approach a liberal about why they are voting, the only two things they will ever cite is first, abortion, second, LGBTQ rights. That is the only thing they will talk about. So it would be great if we just held up a mirror to this person and just let them scream at themselves, because everything that this person is screaming at Ben would have a lot more of an impact if they would just say those exact things to themselves. It's like, why don't you focus on the economy? Why don't you get your community to focus on the economy? We're not struggling because we have an issue with LGBTQ issues. We're struggling because we have a significant part of the population that can't think about anything else besides mutilating children and sexualizing children and putting sexual material in schools or aborting their babies. We can't get you guys to actually talk about the border. We can't get you guys to talk about inflation. We can't get you guys to talk about energy costs or crime or what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, or New York City or Dallas, Texas, where I just heard that there's a bunch of Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment buildings there too. Yay for me. That's about an hour from where I live. It's just mind-boggling to me. It's like, yeah, I would love to talk about the economy, but you're the one sitting down, and the only thing you've been ranting about for almost 3 minutes straight is your genitalia and your rights as a trans person. Mind-boggling to me, guys. Let's keep going.
America's falling apart, and let's give it a woman right when it's all falling apart, when we'd had, 50 men run it, and it looks like shit? Look at where we're at. Surely, where do you think that we're heading? I mean, it's so funny to watch white supremacy just fall apart the way that it is, and you ride so hard because
and this is the part where Ben just completely abandons the conversation. He's just like, all right, you want to talk? Go for it. And this is the part where, you can see the people in the background, they're cheering for this person. They think that they've won this conversation, when honestly, if you just sit down and berate somebody for 2-3 minutes straight and don't give them a chance to talk, that's like the definition of a bully. That's like, you aren't accomplishing anything other than just ranting and raving and screaming like a toddler. And at that point, it's just, there's no point in even trying. So you haven't won anything because this person hasn't said anything sensical in almost 3 minutes.
Guess what? In other countries around the world, women are not having children. And why is it? Because of the patriarchy and all the violence that men perpetuate, and all of this idea that abortion is somehow gonna...
I'm sorry, guys. Just a little question here. If men are so bad, then why do you want to be one? If the patriarchy is so bad, then why did you intentionally turn yourself into someone that is part of the patriarchy? Just a question.
Solve it all by forcing women to have abortion instead of focusing on the real problems that we're facing in our society. We're just going to completely ignore that. And we're just going to go, you know what? The line item is, let's make women have babies so that we can continue this capitalistic society that we have. Why are we doing that? What? I mean, why? Because you want to push white supremacy and because you want to make your check? It does great for you. Meanwhile, people like me have to live with the consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis, and including my entire community. And
oh crap, I didn't mean to click out of it. Sorry. Well,
first question, supremacy, and because you...
Okay, so how many issues has this person brought up? White supremacy, abortion, trans right, capitalism. I don't know. They've literally thrown out every single thing. And this is, to me, what it looks like when your brain starts to glitch with all of these indoctrination points of liberal universities. It's like you don't even know how to have a conversation. You've just made a list of everything that either the media has taught you, that your liberal professor has taught you. There's no foundational belief system behind them. There's no structure to these thoughts. There's no evidence. There's no proof. You just want to sit there and throw out all of these talking points and then make yourself think that you've actually had a significant discussion without actually having to defend anything that you've just said. You haven't won the conversation. You sound like an idiot.
You want to make your check? It does great for you. Meanwhile, people like me have to live with the consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis, and include...
Okay, please don't hate me, but yes, they do have to live with the consequences of the rhetoric that is surrounding them. This person is living with the consequences of being told that capitalism is bad, that white supremacy is bad, or that white supremacy is the most important issue that they need to address, that LGBTQ and abortion rights take precedence over everything else. This person is, like I said, a living, walking example of everything that they have accused Ben Shapiro of being. And they wouldn't even know what Ben Shapiro stands for because they're not interested in letting him talk. Okay, I promise I'm going to let him go for him go for the last 45 seconds and not interrupt.
Including my entire community and the intersectionalities of Black women, men that experience SA, trans people, everyone that comes in. And I'm so sick of the idea that you can come in with this bravado, that you're this big guy that knows things because you can talk fast, you have statistics. But really, what does it really matter at the end of the day if you are harming the entire American... This guy's been accused of rape. Trump. In court documents, and you're backing the guy. You have children. How could you do that to your own? Don't you have a daughter? What is wrong with you, dude? I've never seen such a party just completely the American idea, what we believe in as a country, is not what you're perpetuating. It's diversity. It's giving you tired, hungry, and poor. The Google phone you have in your pocket is because of all of the diversity we've had. Pleasure to meet you.
That was insane. That was completely insane. Nessie, that was one of the accusations by E. Jean Carroll. She was the one that they brought out to bring a case of grape against Trump. That woman is insane. She hasn't been able to prove anything. She doesn't remember pretty much any of these significant details. There were no DNA. There's no DNA evidence. There's no evidence to suggest that Trump was even in the location that she says that he was. She doesn't remember the date. She never told anybody this story around that time. There's pretty much nothing around this case that would suggest that it even happened. Not to mention E. Jean Carroll, like I said, she's insane. She went on with Anderson Cooper and said that grape was sexy. So none of, as Terry Ryan says, none of the facts backed it up. But when this person is coming out here saying, don't you have a daughter? Don't you find this belief system problematic? What I find problematic is having my daughter potentially having to share bathrooms with boys, having to share locker rooms with boys, not having her own privacy, not having her own safety, not even being legally defined when it comes to the law, because anybody that wants to be a man can say that they're a man. Anybody that wants to be a woman can say that they're a woman. And not only that, if a man says that they're a woman and the people around them don't go along with it, they have the grounds to bring a lawsuit against them for discrimination. So yeah, those are the concerns that I have as far as a daughter. I don't even know what to say. This person just threw out everything. They couldn't keep a straight line of thought. Again, we're not interested in a conversation. They went from, again, what did they start with? Abortion, white supremacy, LGBTQ rights, capitalism. They veered into Trump, and then they kept talking about their community. It was just sad because, as I said, I mean, as insane as this is, this person clearly needs help and has not been given the help that they need.